Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Arm Wrestling Tonight. This is Hollywood Matt Connelly with the double biceps that is in the contract, a legal requirement every single time we appear on camera. Just making sure the lawyers are happy that the T's are crossed, the dots are I'd. Correct, it is. All right. The man to my left, but to your right, depending on what sort of screen you're looking at, it is the Master of Disaster, the King of Sting, the Count of Monte Cristo. It is the Siberian Bull. It is Thunderlips, the Ultimate Male. It is the winner of the Dave Stockbridge of the Year Award, the illustrious award held by the illustrious man with the illustrious beard. It is your friend and mine. Please welcome to the show, Dave Stockbridge.
Thank you very much. That's a very warm welcome, as always, Hollywood Matt Connelly, and welcome to everybody who's tuning in to Arm Wrestling Tonight. Doesn't matter where you are around the world, it's Arm Wrestling Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and this is your 5-night-a-week half-hour dose of arm wrestling, where we jump on with some of the movers and shakers in the sport, some of the emerging talent, and tonight we have with us one of the great community builders within the arm wrestling fraternity. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Franch McGee.
Thank you. If I've been on twice in 2 weeks, does that mean like I'm a super mover and shaker and super coming?
You were a mover, but now you're a mover and a shaker.
100%.
Ah, great.
Yes. If you were moving before,
right,
you should be shaking.
I'm trying to lose the weight so I shake less, but we'll get there.
It's like if people start going bald.
The Drew declares, and the big hot topic of tonight's podcast is really around the community building that happens within arm wrestling, and it really is the fundamental of the sport. There are a few sports that spend so much time in assisting others to get involved and to feel comfortable in the sport. And one of the things that really stands out to me about the SA Titans in particular, which is the club that we're all involved in, is that there's this wonderful chat group, and as a social support for 50 or so young people who at any time of the day or night can pop in a comment, can start a conversation and know that there'll be somebody else who'll just jump in. There's no such thing as a lonely SA Titans member. And France, you've been a big part of that over the last few years. You're our token girl at the training rooms, and you're a fixture within the club, and you've garnered the respect and the love and affection of the rest of the club during that period of time. But you have roots going back into martial arts, and you've been involved in community building within those sports previously. What struck you about arm wrestling in particular in terms of attracting you as a woman to the sport? But then what makes you want to stick around in the community?
I mean, I got into it literally. I got forced into it by a friend, but fell in love with it very quickly because honestly, like the amount of technique for like one part of your body was so much, and I found it really fascinating. But yeah, I mean, I was involved in jiu-jitsu before, and like jits has got a great community, don't get me wrong. But I have to say the arm wrestling community is different. Like literally every single person is accepted. There's no one really on the outskirts. Everyone is just so, I was going to say nice, but that's the wrong word, but everyone's real. Like you just get accepted for who you are. There's no little cliques or anything like that. Like anyone can come along and just part of it, and you can be as involved or as not involved as you like. It's you get to, because everyone just will accept you and you get to be part of it. And I absolutely love that part. Like I love. So outside of this, I also volunteer with Beyond Blue, and I'm really focused on men's mental health, because I know in Australia we don't have a lot of support for men struggling as much as there is for women and other areas, and a lot of men, because of culture, sort of struggle to talk about mental health a lot of the time as well. And I love that in this club, like I've had a few people reach out to me when they're not feeling great, and they know they're comfortable to talk to me, and I love being able to be part of that and be someone that they have because of this culture in this community. I think it's really great.
You've actually been recently part of a fundraiser as well. So, I mean, your hairstyle is not your
No.
normal hairstyle. As a matter of fact, you groom a lot of the top mixed martial artists in the country when it comes to, especially the girls, but some of the guys
Braids.
with the longer hair as
Yeah.
well. When they jump into the cage, you do the braids and make sure that they're not knocking themselves out with their own hair, for
Yeah.
instance. And I make that comment because you have just recently gone with a very similar hairstyle as me, but I didn't raise anywhere near as much money as you did, and that was all part of the Beyond Blue.
Also, this was actually
cause.
this one was for the Cancer Council. I sort of touched on it a little bit, but I lost my friend very suddenly to cancer last year. It was absolutely awful, and this year came around her anniversary, and I was still so angry and so hurt, and I wanted to do something. And at the same time, my mum had cancer come back as well, and she's just had the surgery for that. Thankfully, it went really well, but it's too prevalent in too many people's lives. And I thought I just want to do something because I was being so affected by it, and I just felt so useless. And I don't like not being able to do stuff and help people whenever I can. So I was like, this is something I can do. So I put the fundraiser out there. I did add the caveat that anything over the 1,000 will go towards growing my hair because I know more people want to see me with long hair than short. And I have actually hit the nearly 4 years I'm at now, which is getting a little bit scary. Because now I've got to actually remember how to do my hair.
So 4 years of hair growth now is what we will expect. So we will keep having you back, and we'll keep seeing a new hairstyle hopefully as well. So tell us a little bit about your involvement with Beyond Blue. Where did that start, and why did you initially get involved?
This is a little bit heavy, just as a bit of a trigger warning. I'm quite comfortable talking about, just for people watching, it might be a little bit of a trigger. If it is, there is Beyond Blue. There's other helplines. Feel free to reach out to me directly if you need to. I'm happy to talk about it. About 9.5 years ago, actually nearly 10 years now, I was raped twice in about 6 months by 2 different people. And after the second one, I had a bit of a breakdown because, you always think that even if you can't control everything external, you have say over your own body. You think that that's one thing you get to have the say on. And when it became very clearly that I didn't, I kind of had a breakdown after the second one, and I actually attempted suicide myself. And I called Beyond Blue before I started taking the pills because I didn't want to do it. I just couldn't see anything getting any better. When I explain to people, it's like being at the bottom of this pitch black pit and having no way out. You can't see anything. There must be a ladder somewhere, but you can't find it, and you just feel very alone. And I called Beyond Blue, and the poor man was, some of the counsellors aren't qualified. They're there to listen, and he was listening. But I'm solution orientated, and he was just going, yeah, I can hear you're upset. And I was just like, this is useless. You're useless. And I hung up on him. But he called the police, and they saved my life because I'd started taking some pills by the time they rocked up. My body was like in a bit of shock. When they came to the door, I was shaking, like my whole body was shaking. And, they rushed me to the hospital, and I actually spent about 3 weeks in a psych ward and got, medicated and had a HOPA counselling. But, I mean, if it wasn't for that guy from Beyond Blue, I wouldn't be here. So I owe them my life. And I went through a HOPA counselling and had a HOPA help, and I got to a point where I was like, okay, I want to help other people. There's a Japanese art form that I believe in fundamentally that it applies to people, but it's called kintsugi. And what that is, if you have a piece of pottery, for those that don't know, like a vase or something, if you break it, they actually repair it with gold. So it becomes far more beautiful and far more valuable than it was prior to being broken. And I think if we as humans can be broken, but then can heal and can put ourselves back together, we become more beautiful, but also more valuable, because then we've got this added life experience that we can relate to other people and use to help other people. And it's just, you see some absolutely amazing, to see how beautiful that looks when it's all repaired. It's got that added characteristics and that unique, because nothing breaks the same, right? So nothing's ever going to be repaired the same way. And I love that. I actually wrote a song about how it can apply to us as humans. But I think if we can heal like these things, put ourselves back together, like I said, we become able to relate to other people and to be there for other people when they go through stuff. And so I think it's, I like to look at it as myself like a piece of repaired vase. And yeah, so that's.
And did you get into BJJ
Yeah.
after that as a way to So did you find that a healthy way of
honestly
also
amazing
helping with?
Yeah. So I mean, as a kid, I always wanted to do some martial art. My mum never let me. She said I'd murder my sister, so was never able to do anything. But yeah, after that all happened, I really actually.
Have you murdered your sister? By the way?
No. I would like to clarify that she's held a knife to me, and the worst thing I've done to her is thrown her in a cupboard. So.
Yeah, but it was a big cupboard.
But yeah, no,
that cupboard had one day left till retirement.
But yeah, no. So.
And had you seen BJJ on
No,
TV or had you seen it on YouTube?
I watched a movie. So I always want to do it, never did. I watched a movie called Here Comes the Boom. And I was like, I still really want to do something martial arts. And I was chatting to a mate of mine who lives in WA. I'm in South Australia. And he said, oh, you should try jiu-jitsu. I'm like, okay. I literally knew nothing about it. I couldn't have told you anything. I was like, cool. I just looked it up. There's one around the corner. Sweet. I called the guys that I'll show you, like we have a private beginner's lesson. And so I showed up and it was Michael Toyama. So, I was really fortunate to train under him and again, knew nothing. Like when I tell you nothing, I didn't even know nothing. And he goes, I'll show you the basics. I'm like, all right, no worries. And he goes, I'll get you to lay down. And I'm like, all right.
Right.
And he gets to mount position. So he's now straddling my stomach. I'm like, do you buy me dinner at any point during this?
At least he went to mount, not a full guard.
I know. So he's got that, but he showed me a figure four, a collar choke, and an arm bar from mount. And I was like, I love this. Literally fell in love with it. I was like, this is great. I want to be able to do this to people. And yeah, so I started training. And at the time I was training 3 to 4 times a week. I would do beginners and advanced class on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I was doing no-gi on Wednesday nights with MMA. And then I'd occasionally go to open mat on the weekend. So I was training all the time. And I went from being someone that was literally physically sick every time I went outside to now, if you know me, you know that that's not actually the case at all. But it helped. And the people that I met, like, I met some people that are still some of my really closest friends, people that were like big brothers, people who were just there when I needed them. At the time I was feeling pretty alone and everything. And yeah, it was a godsend at the time. So yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, Michael has now passed. So we just want to acknowledge that Michael has impacted so many people's lives in such a positive way, and it was a very
it was a shock.
It was a privilege to read his eulogy at TFC a few events ago, and to see 1,000 faces there whose eyes welled up at the thought of his contribution to the whole community here in South Australia and beyond. So our thoughts are still with Greg and the Toyama family as they still deal with this great loss, and the whole BJJ and MMA community here in South Australia and around Australia, who certainly owe a great debt of gratitude to Michael and the whole Toyama family. So you, how did you cross over into arm wrestling? What was your first introduction?
So I was I saw you guys at Apex at the Norwood Oval. I think it must have been 2021, I reckon, because I just had Amy. And I was too chicken to come up to you because there was this big, huge Ben there. That now I know it's Ben, but he was this big, huge dude. And I was like, I'm not going near them. So I was too chicken. But then I was at the DFC at Adelaide Oval, and my friend Kat, who was doing roll clean soaps, she knew Matt. So she's like, Franch, you should have a go. Like, you'd be really good at this. I'm like, I'm not doing arm wrestling. She goes, no, you're strong. Like, just give it a go. I was like, oh. She goes, no, Matt's really nice. Come on. And she literally dragged me over. And she just introduced me to Matt, and Matt goes, all right, like, give me an arm wrestle. So I had an arm wrestle, and he goes, all right, so you're pretty strong, but there's some technique. I'm like, what do you mean technique? Huh? And so he showed me something, and I was
harder.
Yeah, pretty much. But I was just really fast. Like I said, did jiu-jitsu for so long, and I was used to having technique for like all over your body, but just having it isolated to pretty much one part of your body mostly. And it being so effective, like little micro adjustments can make all the difference. And I found that pretty cool. And, it's been a cool party trick as well. So that's nice.
Yeah, when you're taking some people down at your latest office party or something, you were beating people there.
Yeah, my boss likes to tell people, oh, you should arm wrestle Franch. You should, yeah, it's great.
Just to demasculate them just as they start in their workforce. It's like, go and get beaten by French.
And then come back and I'll teach you how to do your job.
I actually think I remember Matt commenting about how you had a really strong hand and grip very early on, like on the maybe one of the first few times that you were on the table, and then afterwards knowing, it's
so
the
he only
BJJ,
says nice things
so
behind my back. I see how it is.
Yeah, it's all insults to the face.
Wait until all this podcast is over and it all comes out. All the stuff comes out. But
I should do these more often. Might feel good about myself.
So you found your way into arm wrestling through that event, and of course it's one thing just to go to a novelty event where you were already there because you're part of that MMA scene, and you're helping the athletes out, and you're in the locker room and all of that. So you're in your element, and there just happen to be some crazy arm wrestlers there, and so you've had a bit of a go. But it's another step to then walk into the training room, and as a woman who's had your experiences there as well, to walk into a room of 30 or 40 young dudes that you don't know, that would be paralyzing, socially paralyzing for not just any woman, but for almost anybody. But so what made you feel within you? What was the calling to then go down to the training rooms and to start being part of this amazing arm wrestling community?
I mean, it was not far from me, and I had I had to psych myself up so much because I was like, I'm gonna know no one. I was like, Matt's not going to remember me. No one's going to know me. I'm going to have to like talk to people that I don't know and be in a room full of people I don't know. And
that Ben guy might be there.
Yeah, that big terrifying guy. Who I've now choked, by the way, which is great.
He usually pays people to do that.
Not people that look like me. No, so I had to really psych myself up, but I was so interested in it. Like I really enjoyed like just learning the bits. And I was like, I want to do this a little bit more. Like I found it really fun. And then everyone was just so nice. And I think half the guys were terrified because there was a woman in the room for a change. And then the other half were trying to work out what I was doing there. But it was great. They were so nice. Even Ben, who was terrifying to start with, but everyone was so patient, took the time to explain a whole heap of techniques, and the more I learnt, the more I became interested, and it was cool. And we had Paula there when I first started, and she was so cool. She's such a legend. But it was just a really cool bunch of people, and some of them are now friends.
And it now seems that you're everybody's honorary sister. And for a lot of the younger guys in the club, for instance, they might not have any female influences in their lives, or mightn't have had that type of connection with a woman that they're not related with, for instance. And so you've very much filled that gap within the need of the club and the other members there to be that female that they can confide in and talk to and feel comfortable around, and in a way that they mightn't necessarily feel that they can be with maybe girls or women that they might work with or know otherwise.
No, it's been really cool. I mean, I got Valera to voluntarily hug me the other day, and that was just the pride. That's just made me feel like my life goal is accomplished.
Did he do it last night as well?
Yep. Got a hug.
Oh, he did? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. The progression is.
I've done it.
And Valera's a young man at the club who is a lovely young guy, but he's a little bit closed off emotionally, you might say. He's not the most, so for that to happen, it's you're unlocking something within that young man. He's finding another piece of himself he didn't even know was there. And so, talking about the community building, so now you are very active in the club. You're always in the chat. You're always encouraging. You're always sharing your thoughts, and you're seemingly one of those mainstays where it doesn't matter really the time of day or night. If somebody wants to engage or somebody wants to have a chat, you're almost that beyond blue for many of those people that are in the club. Is that how you feel? Like, do you feel like you're the glue in some respects that is holding that little community together, that feminine energy that's holding that community together?
I wouldn't even pretend to be that important, but I would definitely want to be like, for people I care about, if you need someone to talk to, I'll always be there. Like, I'm not, I know how important it is to have someone, and if I can be that person, I'll be that person. There's so many great dudes in this club that I want to see do really well and accomplish things, and if they need a little bit of help along the way, then absolutely, like, I'll be there. If I'm what they need, 100%, like, let me be there. But I think everyone plays their part in their own respect. Like Matt does so much for the club every single week. We run because of your support. So if anyone's the glue, I would, you guys, and then Tim Graham, and then the rest of us just play our little parts to keep it going. But I'm glad I've got my little spot too.
And a little bit of credit here too to Tim Graham. He's the OG of SA arm wrestling, and really did start on his driveway and progress to his carport, I think, before eventually going to Blair Athol, and then Matt stepped in as Tim had other responsibilities and obligations with work and family and study, and Matt really came in and started the Super Match Sunday series, and started giving everybody nicknames and started marketing the club, and then it kind of went from a few to a dozen to 2 dozen to 50, 60 people and in the chat, and has really nurtured and curated a beautiful community of I don't want to say oddballs, but
everyone's so unique. We have such a conglomerate of different people in the club, and it's cool.
Disparate personalities. Yeah, very disparate personalities, isn't it? It's we really have some wonderful people from very, very different walks of life who all come together in the club. And Grant, who's like the big daddy of the club in some respects, he's that older father figure, and very, very much a guiding light and a great example to a lot of the young men. And
I'd give Tim more credit if I wasn't so scared he'd yell in my face, but he did do a great job starting it up. Fun fact though, when I first started, and Ben was teaching me, like, he teaches in such a fatherly way. I thought he was like late 40s, early 50s, and I started calling him Dad. Found out he's only a year older than me. I was like, okay then.
He does look older than he is.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So I want to talk a little bit about this before we do go away, and it's really about some of those key things that we've been able to do, or certainly, Matt's instigated and in the club, and so one of those, and I've mentioned it a couple of times now, is that chat group. So we have a chat group. It's on Messenger, and anybody who comes along, you don't have to be a paid up member to be in it. It really is, as soon as somebody almost shows a whiff of interest in coming along, or comes along just the once, it's like, you're in, like, we're going to add you, and it's really interesting. I've seen people come for one training night, and they've joined the group, and it's through the week that they feel like they're being embraced by the community, and that's what encourages them to come back on the following Sunday. The other thing is that I do not think that Matt has failed to put on a training session for the SA Titans on a Sunday for maybe nearly 5 years now. So, and it doesn't even matter if that Sunday is Christmas Day. There will be training. There will always be training on Sundays. And so there is this ritual where it doesn't really matter what's going on in your life, personally or professionally, or anything that might be going on there in the background of your world. In your mind, there's always going to be that certainty of Sunday 5:45. The doors will be open, and there'll be arm wrestling for 2 or 3 hours, and then you've also got a real ritual of going out afterwards as a group. And
When
so,
training finishes at 7:45, everyone, that's when we go get food.
That's when we just get started.
And when does training ever finish at 7:45?
When Franch is hungry and starts packing up the tables at 7.
And a few will push people off of the table as they're on it. Like, it's like, hang on, where's the table going?
And so that's 5:45 to 7:45 every Sunday, and it's been the same venue for all of that time as well. So that, in a world that seems to be changing so rapidly, and where the shifting sands of circumstances such that it feels really difficult for young people in particular to grab a hold of reality, that certainty and stability in the club is maybe for some the only certainty and stability that they have in their lives. So I really want to just iterate this point, because if you're an arm wrestling fan and you tune into arm wrestling tonight, then you're doing so because you're part of the community, or you want to be a more active part of the community. I mean, we see some wonderful people in the comments that I feel like are a part of my life that I've never met before. I feel like if the Drew wasn't there, I would feel like, where's the Drew? Like, is he okay? Is everything all right in Las Vegas? I'll be checking out Google what's going on in Vegas. There's been a weather event. I'd feel like there was something wrong, and I think that this is is one of the beautiful things of our sport, that I'm sure in other sports it's there, and I'm sure in other clubs it's there, but I see it just so much in our club and in other clubs. And I would just really ardently recommend to anybody who tunes in, who is thinking about starting a club, or is already part of a club that wants it to be more like we've just described, then first and foremost, know who your leader is. And in our case, that's Matt. Matt really does, is so much behind the scenes. It really comes down to the few when it comes to getting a club started, so that the many can enjoy the benefits of it. And having a leadership, or a leadership group or team of people who are there to make sure that in the event that something did happen to Matt, Franch would be there with the key on Sunday. Tim will turn up out of the blue, if he needed to with the key, if something happened, and training would go on, and we all know that would happen. There wouldn't be a time when training wouldn't happen, even if something did happen to Matt. So one, certainty, ritual, a chat group. Please just start a chat group, because arm wrestling is so much more than what you do on the table.
Connect you as
Power going out.
humans.
Power's out again at Dave's house. I think he had some problems before we went live. It's probably frozen there. Looked like all the lights disappeared right at the end there. It was a great summary of the episode, though, by Mr. Stockbridge. He might pop back in. We'll see. But yeah, it was fun. Like last night, obviously, we had training, and as per usual, went out
outside the building.
Dinner. That's right. It was outside the building. Somebody drove their car into the community center where we train, and
they wanted to join us so much. They drove their car in.
We were 4 days early and about 500 kilometers too fast. Straight through a brick wall.
Oh goodness. Hope they're okay. Yeah. In all seriousness.
Yeah, I think they were okay. But yeah, so we had the session last night, and then dinner. Everyone came to dinner, and then after that we had ice cream, which we always do. We go to the ice cream place, and we were playing card games and stuff like that. And I remember, I think Kyle or it was Muhammad, one of the two. We were playing Uno, and he said, "Where else would you ever be in an arm wrestling club where you guys would be sitting in an ice cream bar playing Uno together?"
Exactly.
So
now we've got such a great vibe, like just such a good group of people. You know, everyone's just so nice, like so accepting of everyone else. It's a really welcoming vibe, and it's really good. I'm so glad I found the club.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a big difference, especially just so many people will come along and not even train. I mean, for weeks, you know, Stephen, Ben just turned up and they just talked.
I was coming with my broken elbow.
Right, there you go.
Can't train, but I talk.
Yeah, because you're in that rhythm. You know, you want to see everyone, you want to hear about what's going on, and yes, it does make a really big difference, especially when you get people that have come along for the first time, and then we're like, "Oh, well, how'd you go tonight? And do you have a good time?" And they're like, "Yeah, it was great." And I'm like, "We're going to dinner just across the road if you want to come along to that." And they're like, "Oh, all right, sure." And then it's like, we have dinner, and then it's like, we're going to ice cream just down the road. We're going to play card games and stuff. So do you want to come to that? All right, yeah, sure.
Yeah. No, it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the funny moments for me, which we were playing card games. It was Kyle's first night ever. So I had driven him there, so he couldn't leave because he was with me.
Hostage.
So had a good time on the tables. We've gone to dinner. Everything's great. We've gone to the ice cream bar, and we were playing the hot dog game, which is it's not supposed to be a violent game, but it ends up.
But we have Ben and Steve, so everything is a violent game.
And you're supposed to grab the cards as fast as you can. Everyone's fighting to grab these cards, but Ben likes to just give up on trying to get the cards and just karate chop everyone else's hands as they're trying to get them. And Kyle was reaching for one. It's brand new, doesn't know anybody. He's first time there, and Ben has karate chopped his hands so hard. I was like, "Oh my god, what are you doing? He's not going to come back."
Yeah. My first night, we went to the Pancake Kitchen and we played that cheese taco card game, and I got there first, and I had so many huge ham hands just slam on top of mine. It was violent, but it was so fun. It was just really fun.
I think for a while there, Stretch, who's enormous and has a huge hand, he would deliberately wait and then just wait till everyone and then smack everyone's hand up. So good. But I mean, that's got nothing to do with arm wrestling. It's just the fun part.
It's just enjoying each other's company and that's the thing. I think we're not just a group of people that arm wrestle together. We are a group of people that are friends and enjoy each other's company and enjoy spending the time. And there's like a community instead of just a bunch of people. Like, we're not separate entities anymore. It's like actually a group of people who like being together. Exactly. So it's different.
Well, should we say hello to the people who are in the chat here? We've got, I know the Drew has gone to bed, but he was the first man to jump in and say a comment there. We've got David Hux, who says, "Howdy, fellas." David Hux from Riverland, I believe, in South Australia, does come down to the SA Titans Club every now and then and do some super matches, which is fantastic to see. So we got in here Sam. Kiwi Sam from the SA Titans Arm Wrestling Club, formerly from a club in New Zealand that he started. But great to see Sam here. He is going to have a match with Dave next Sunday. So he says, Dave, please remember the Dave Stockbridge Award this Sunday. Looking forward to winning Dave Stockbridge of the Year Award 2025 this Sunday.
Wow.
We've got Lucky Wood in the chat. She says, "Yeah, it's Franch again," which is awesome.
Oh, that's nice.
The Drew said he was going to bed. Mr. Peanut is here. Hello to Mr. Peanut, as always. And who else was in there? We saw, just gonna scroll down a little bit. Marinda Korf is here. She says, "How's it, guys?" And then I love when it gives a description of the emoji as opposed to just displaying the emoji. We've got finger red, number 1, medal yellow, first red.
What the heck is that? What, what? Okay.
Finger red, number 1. I think it's the little smiley with the one thing that goes like that.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And then medal yellow first, like the medal you would hang around your neck. Yeah. Much more fun when it's a description. You have to create the visual.
It's like when you watch a movie with subtitles and it's like ominous music.
Yes, that's right. I love that. That's awesome. All right. Well, so any final thoughts, Franch McGee?
No, I think we've said a lot on this one, and if you are thinking about trying arm wrestling, you should definitely come along on a Sunday and come say hi. Next Sunday is my birthday weekend, which is an even better time to start because I get to pick where we go for dinner. But no, absolutely come and try it. Everyone is so welcoming. Come say hi to me or Matt if you don't know anyone and you want someone to say hi to, and we will chuck you on a table with other people and get you started, and it'll be a great experience.
There you go. Yeah, so 5:45 to 7:45 every Sunday, Kilburn Community Centre, which is 59 Gladstone Avenue, Kilburn. That's if you're in South Australia and Adelaide. But apart from that, we love the fact that the arm wrestling community is very similar to that. Well, at least that I've experienced around the world. Everyone's supportive, friendly, wants the best for each other, and fantastic culture to experience. So we'll leave it there. Dave's probably struggling with the power, and we'll say thank you to all the people in the chat. And thank you to Franch McGee, and we'll finish with one.
Thanks for having me.
Double bicep there to finish it off.